Well, good Thursday morning, Chris Hare, the Crypto Cowboy. Thanks for sitting down and having a cup of coffee with me. We're going to go over that new coin, Aster, today. Had a phenomenal run up 2,000% from its inception, and we all know CZ's behind this, so Binance and CZ things always do well, even in downturn. But we're going to go over it today. Is it done? Are we going to get better? Does it still have a run in it? We'll break it all down for you here in this video. Now, I am a world champion team roper multiple times, and I'm taking the strategies that I've learned outside in that arena and how to win and going to make you guys world champion crypto traders. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about some long-term targets on Aster towards the end, and I usually give out some kind of trading tip at the end of the video. But we'll start off with the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. Currently, we're at a 28 at the time of recording. It's gone down, and that's expected because of the pullback that we've had. But what I will tell you, that every time we drop into fear, it's a really good time to buy. You can see every time we hit fear, we go up. This measures market sentiment. When people are scared, nobody wants to buy. That's the time we buy, guys. We hit extreme fear and absolutely launched. And so we're dropping down in fear pretty low, lower than we've been in previous times. And we need to pay attention to that because I think there's a bounce that's incoming. But if we go into the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, you can see Bitcoin sitting at a 27. Was at a 25 on Tuesday, I believe it was. Yeah, but we've moved out. I think some money's just moved out of Bitcoin. Maybe people are scared. Alts are hanging on, so people aren't really selling them at this point. I think they're just realize they're kind of stuck with them. But we need this to get up into a blue to really see these kind of coins run. Ultimately, the dark blue, like we hit a 70 last month, and that's when it was absolutely screaming and on fire. And then about 87 back in December when all the alts just kind of took off and did their own thing. But I was able to find a liquidation heat map for Aster, and it paints a pretty interesting picture. There's not a lot of liquidations left to the bottom side. Got about $2 million worth of liquidations down to about 91 and a half cents. And you've got about 14 million up to about $1.10. And for those of you that don't know, and I use a liquidation heat map, it shows you where everybody's longs and shorts are. So anything below price action is a long trade. Anything above price action is a short trade. And the market makers use this to move the charts. They constantly chase liquidity. They don't care where your stop losses are. All they want to know is where they are because they're going to come after them. So they like to get these imbalances and they like to push it the other way. And that's what I kind of think's going on right now. But we'll get into the chart here. Pretty interesting. We'll start off with the 4 hour. You can see we've had a really bad dump since everything did. Aster actually dropped below the wick that we say usually fills out about 70%. You see it tried, it climbed up, and then it failed, and then it's been in a constant downturn ever since. Kind of hit this 4 hour golden zone again. Retested it, couldn't hold it, headed on down to the extensions, and now we found a bounce. Question is, do we come back up to the 4 hour golden zone? This is the 50 simple moving average. It takes 50 of these candles, puts a fluid line on the chart that works as excellent support and resistance. Or do we go to the 50 smooth moving average? I use this a lot as a composite. It's a composite between the EMA and the SMA, and it puts a fluid line, and charts seem to really like to respect it. So I use it a lot. But you can see we bounced off at about 94 cents, which is good. You know, we were headed into this extension. The question is, do you come back down and test out 84 to 76 cents, or is this where the run up is? I would assume that it would follow Bitcoin, and I think Bitcoin's got a little more downside to it. So I would say maybe this is just some kind of retest, and we're going to push on down, finish this move. Really looks to me like what's probably going to happen. I would expect somewhere around 83 cents, but I think there's a lot of hope for this. I think once you bounce out of that, you're going to start heading up. You're going to start retesting all these resistances. And I think if you get a good run, we can head on. So your first stop would be about $1.25. Get over this 50 moving average, and then we're headed up to our golden zone to the upside. That's at $1.89. And then on up to 293 on a 4 hour chart. If we move out to the daily, there's not a lot of information here. There's not a moving average because it's so new, but you can see there's a lot of hope. These newer coins, a lot of times they'll test out 50% of the move. This one decided to test out a little more. So you really watch these golden zones, and you can see we've bounced off the bottom, and that makes me super optimistic that this run might actually be ready to take off. Personally, I would like to have some exposure to Aster. I don't have any currently, and I think I may put in a spot buy either today or tomorrow, and then just kind of DCA if we do if we do by chance start heading down again. But on this daily chart, I'm marking out in golden zones here. I went ahead and pulled a Fibonacci from swing high to swing low. That way we can get some better upside targets. And it still looks pretty promising, guys. I think if we can break over those 4-hour 50s like we talked about, your next stops are going to be 187 to 213, then on up to 287 to 393. And we'll go ahead and look at the further extension because this coin has been so hot. I think 492 is still left in the tank. If we can come up, do some kind of retest and take off again, this thing could go up to $7 or $10 pretty easy. So yeah, I think it's pretty optimistic for that tonight, or this morning. I think there's room for the upside, and honestly, it looks pretty close. It looks good enough that I would be interested in spot buys. I don't leverage trade these coins; they're so risky and they just move so fast. You've got to use low leverage to even take a chance, and by then you're gambling. I would rather take that $100 or $1,000 that I put on the trade, take it to a slot machine, pull the handle. You're going to end up with the same outcome. That's just where I am. But if you do decide to trade a coin like this, I would probably use 1% of your bag, maybe even 0.5% of your bag. Use low leverage, get your stop loss tight, and then trail that stop loss as you go into profit. Get your stop loss in profit as soon as possible. That's how I trade. It works really well for me. The gains compound over time, guys. You're not going to make $1 million overnight, but you can make a pretty substantial amount of money off of Aster just out of buying spot at the right times. And personally, I think that we're probably there. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just a guy sitting in his dirty old shop making YouTube videos because I enjoy doing TA. But there's an opportunity here. I think there's an opportunity here. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to buy a little. And like I said, I'll DCA as this goes down. If something happens, we lose these supports or it gets it gets worse, I'll follow up with another video. And when we finally hit that bottom, I'll make one more. We'll talk about upside and see where we're going from there. But I really appreciate you watching this video. I'm new to Aster. I've kind of kept an eye on it, but not really. But I think it's time to start paying attention. So if you're enjoying these videos, go ahead and like them, hit the subscribe, tap that bell notification. You'll get notifications as soon as we drop a video. Also, leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. Do you agree, disagree? Let's talk about it. I want to know why. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this morning. I've got some horses to shoe, so I'm going to be busy. I think we're going to try to rope some cows tonight. That's another thing. With all of these videos, I'm a multiple-time world champion team roper. And to get there isn't easy. And it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of dedication. And that's what I'm bringing to crypto. I want to teach you guys to have a world champion type mentality, to go into crypto, attack it the right way, take the good shots, and that's how you win. We're all going to be winners. And that's what I want. I'm a winner. I want you guys to be winners. So there we are. Chris Hare, the Crypto Cowboy. Don't forget to check out my other links to Twitter. I've got a sweet deal on BitUnex down there to get you signed up on an exchange to trade on. But I think that's everything. I don't think I left anything out. I've rambled on so long. But I'm going to wrap it up. Chris Hare, the Crypto Cowboy. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you down the road.